Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Pull Chapter 17. This one's titled Teams Chosen. You were about to try and say something smart in return, but being heavily detained by Aizawa's binds kinda kept your tongue in check too, so you just stood there stupidly with arms wrapped in his restraints. You really know how to use this thing, you finally said, looking at the binding cloth around your wrists and arms. When it comes to tying you up, then yes, he replied, not realising just how sexual his reply had sounded just now. Your eyes widened and you sucked your bottom lip in between your teeth and bit down on it to stop yourself from making any unnecessary noises. Expect to see me a lot more out on the field, he whispered lowly before swiftly removing the binding cloth and jumping backwards off the desk. Almost as if nothing had happened, he then pushed his hands into his pockets and walked past you to the classroom door, then off down the hallway and out to where the students were waiting at the entrance to the forest surrounding UA. Watching him go, you took a moment to compose yourself, then followed him out, not wanting to get too close to him for fear of remembering what he had said in your ear and blushing again. Once you and Aizawa had caught up with the students, you each stood apart and Aizawa gave instructions to the group before him. One straight line, please, he commanded. I bet he's going to number us off 1 and 2, Momo whispered to Jiro. Quick, separate so that we're every second number in the class. Team 1 will be with me. Team 2 will be with Miss Lin, Aizawa said as he started to count people off. 1, he called, pointing to Todoroki, who was first in line. 2, he said, pointing to Midoriya, who was second in line after Todoroki, then pointing across to you to instruct the greenette to walk over to you. 1, he said again, pointing to Bakugo. Girls, Miss Lin is Team 2, Momo hissed, making the girls scramble at the back of the line to make sure that they were going to end up on your team. Once everyone had been counted, the teams were as follows. Aizawa's team, Todoroki, Bakugo, Mineta, Shoji, Kaminari, Kirishima, Sero, Ida, Tokoyami, Koda. Your team, Midoriya, Aoyama, Ojiro, Momo, Jiro, Uraraka, Tsuyu, Hagakure, Mina, and Seto. You looked at Aizawa's lineup and tried not to let your concern show on your face. He has a number of very strong students on his team, you thought, then glanced at your own team and smiled. But we have Hagakure on our team, and Aizawa's quirk does not work on her. Having stalked Aizawa's profile on the internet, you knew exactly how his quirk worked, and you thanked your stalker self for looking him up because now you had an advantage. I'm sure Aizawa knows how my quirk works, but he doesn't know just how far I can stretch because my quirk details aren't on a public forum, you thought proudly as you called your group together. That's one good thing about having a good quirk but not being a hero. No one knows your full potential. You ushered your group away from Aizawa's so you could formulate a plan, and after chatting for a bit, Aizawa made the next announcement. Miss Lin, here's the map, he called to you. The flags have already been placed out. He pulled a map of the forest from his pocket and handed it to you. You'll be given 10 minutes to get ready, and then a gunshot will be heard from the cap gun, he added, pulling the starting pistol from his other pocket for you to see. May the best team win. Thank you, we plan to, you replied cheekily, earning yourself some proud chuckles from the girls on your team. Aizawa's top lip pulled up at the side in a cheeky smirk, then he lifted the gold goggles from around his neck and raised them to his eyes. You're going down, Miss Lin, he replied in his usual dull voice as he turned away from you. You smirked and indicated to your team for them to follow you as you held the map up and walked into the forest. Aizawa, sir, what do we know of Miss Lin's quirk? Aizawa asked his teacher as he jogged up beside him to talk as they headed for their flag. Her maximum stretch is 9 meters, Aizawa replied. That's far, Todoroki commented. We'll need to station someone at the flag at all times in case she tries to take it from a distance. Aizawa nodded. How do you know that she can stretch 9 meters? Kaminari asked from behind the group. I have access to the quirk registry, and according to their data, a woman of height and weight of Miss Lin should be able to stretch 9 meters. You know her measurements? Kaminari gasped with an excitedly hopeful look on his face. Yes, but that's classified information, Aizawa replied bluntly. Damn, Kaminari grunted softly. Let's formulate a plan immediately, Ida said authoritatively. We will need to identify the long-range attackers from the opposing team and detain them immediately. That's good thinking, If they get caught, they get put in jail for the rest of the time, Kirishima said, listening in from behind Kaminari. So once they're out, they're out. We could set traps too, Todoroki mused, like pits covered with leaves to catch Hagakure. Good thinking, Todoroki, as expected from you, Ida praised. Soon they were at their flag, and your team had reached yours. Bakugo's gonna come for us first, Yorika said knowingly. He'll just want to blast us out of here. I'll set flash bombs around the flag, Yaoyorozu said. They'll be bright enough to blind him. That's a good idea, Momo, because Aizawa said we can't touch the flag. Has to stay in one spot, Jiro said. Otherwise, I'd suggest we move it. Okay, teammates, what's our plan? You asked as you turned to face them all, one hand on the flagpole. We have a limited time, so let's get to it. Both teams worked quickly to come up with some adequate techniques to stop the opposing team. Then Aizawa checked his watch. Game time. Are you ready, Yin? He thought with a smirk as he raised his arm with his gun in hand. Team set, he called loudly. Go! The loud bang echoed around the hills and you looked up into the sky. That's the cue, you called to your team. Let's go, team! Go get that flag! And there ends Chapter 17. Stay tuned for Chapter 18 coming tomorrow.